Hello there retro heads, Benny Williams here from Hermit's Hideaway, and this is going to be a bit of an update video, a bit of a pickups video. It's going to be telling you what I've been up to while I've not really been around, and as you can see, two of the main reasons here, I've been working on a couple of bar tops. One is a vertical arcade bar top with a working flight style joystick with the trigger button at the front and another button at the top, which I want to try and reassign for things, special bombs and things like that in the game. This also has a spinner, both completely functional. Spinner is not perfect at the moment, got a bit more work to do on that. And then over to my mini bar top over here, which I've dubbed the Scrapcade. Obviously this one being the Verticade, my main arcade being the Williamscade, which is the first one I did. The Scrapcade being dubbed what it is because I built it out of scrap MDF that I had lying around, and I wanted to make a small sort of bar top arcade which is going to be highly portable and something I'll get more use of out of anything else. So this is set up for 4-way only, so it's only got 4-way games running on it. I do realise that Asteroids isn't a 4-way game, but I just like the theme, so I wanted to go with that. So just waiting on a couple more parts and then that'll be finished. As you can see, this one's nearly finished. I've got the bezel left to do. Bezel's cut out, but I've got to paint it up and think about what I'm going to do with it, whether I'm going to put some stickers on, vinyl stickers on there, or I don't know yet. I've not really decided. But so in my last couple of videos, you've probably heard me say that I've got more videos on the way. That hasn't been the case. I just, you know, life just gets in the way and I just haven't really had the time, or when I have had the time I've been too tired. So, you know, a bit of some personal circumstances have got in the way too. So it's not that I'm short of ideas, I've got a whole list of ideas worth of videos. Especially there's going to be more like the last one I did with the PlayStation Classic, where I've got me with the green screen behind me. So I've got more videos like that planned for different systems and things like that. So I'm hoping get Christmas out of the way, and I'm going to try and kick myself at the butt a little bit and try and start putting some more content out there, hopefully. So anyway, that's enough waffleage. Let's get on to what I've been picking up, because it's coming towards the end of the year and I don't want to be showing any of these for next year, because it's going to be a new start, it's going to be a new year. So I'm going to show you what I picked up over the last few months right now. So here we go. So the first thing, charity shop pickup, is Mega Games free. Hopefully that will focus in a second. Without its box, but as you can see on the back, it was only £1 for that. I've been collecting for the Game Gear a lot, and my wife has said that she's going to get me one for Christmas, and I know that she's already got it, so I'm looking forward to having that and having massive and masses of nostalgia. I believe I've already got this game from my friend Lee James Peake, so you know, at £2 anyway, I couldn't turn it away. And normally in this St Richard's Hospice, they normally try and overcharge for games, because they can make more profit out of it, and they try and be sort of boutique style shops. But here we have Mortal Kombat. I can't remember if I have it or not. At some point I'm going to have to go through my Game Gear collection, because I've got quite a lot of games now. So we'll do that next year. We'll go through my Game Gear collection, I'll show you what we've got. We've got some Super Nintendo boxes full of games to show as well. Will that focus on that? There we go. You can see £1.50 for that. Bargain prices. And if I have already got them, eventually I'm going to try and trade them in towards something else. So Krusty's Funhouse, I do have this on the Super Nintendo. It's an absolutely awesome puzzle game. Really enjoy it. A lot of people, you know, it's a hit and miss. It's a bit like Marmite for some people. £2 for that. £2 all day long for me. So this one is Crash Bandicoot 2 on the Game Boy Advanced. and if I get my head out of the way, it might have a bit of a better time trying to focus. 50p for that anyway. Absolute bargain again. And here we've got Prince of Persia in the nice plastic little clamshells, that same as like with the Game Boy that you got for the Game Gear. So I didn't have a Game Boy growing up. I had the Game Gear, and although more of my passion and love is for Nintendo, I do have lots and lots of fond memories of playing the Game Gear, and I had the adapter so I could also play the Master System with it as well. That was great, that was. So I spent a lot of time, I went through a lot of batteries, because obviously there's 6 AA batteries that you've got to use for it anyway, and I went through lots of power cables for it as well, because I used to play it all the time. So got Marble Madness next. I do have it on the NES. It is, for me, perfect on the NES because the D-pad just works fantastically. I played it in the arcade, and I didn't realise that you've actually got a pedal on the bottom that you're supposed to use with it, so it's really tough in the arcade, but that's with the trackball as well. I'm just not keen on using the trackball, but with the pedal it makes more sense. Here we've got Rayman 3, 50p. So this was just right place at the right time for these. Formula 1 2002. £50. So it's not often you see Game Boy Advance games in the wild anymore, so it was great to pick these up. And if I've got any of them already, again, they'll be going towards trade, and I might use them to trade in a fantastic Facebook group called Retro Game Swap Shop, which I've had some fantastic swaps with before. A wrestling game here, which I know I've already got that one, but I couldn't leave it there for 50p, especially if it's worth at least a couple of quid. At least I can get probably something towards a decent game, or another game that I don't have. And here we have Rayman, and it's Rayman Advanced, 50p, but the great thing about Rayman is that it always looks absolutely incredible. Even first game to this day on the PS1 Classic, it looks amazing still. So I also got, from the same shop, Tiger Woods PGA Tour 11. That was, as you can see, £1. I love the PlayStation 3, I love collecting for it, and I haven't bought anything for it for a while, so I thought I'd buy that because I like golf games anyway, especially the Tiger Woods ones. I got Madden, is that 2003? That was only 50p, so normally if I see a GameCube game for under £1, anything, a GameCube game for under £5 is normally really good value. It's normally good price, so I like to pick them up if and when I can. And even if I don't play and keep this game, I just use the case and just print off my own cover to go inside and use it for something. Like, I've got a Beautiful Joe that's disc only, so I can use it for that. Which reminds me, I've got to get that to show you in a second as well. And a bit of a beaten up Spider-Man. That was only 50p, but with the PS4 Spider-Man game being out, I'm sure that all the Spider-Man games overall, generations of consoles are going up in price now, no doubt. So when I recently went on holiday, we always go to Insane Games, which is in Wells next to Cheddar, and go there every year, and bought quite a few things in there. Like, it's mostly crap really, to be honest, but things like this. I've got PGA Tour Golf 2. I don't have it, so it's good to have a box copy of it anyway. I only paid £1 for it, and again, like the GameCube games, I'm going to swap out some of these cases to put into loose games that I've got and then print off my own labels, because unlike what Nintendo did with like the SNES and things like that, they used the cardboard cases and they just got damaged and ruined. So at least with Sega they did these solid ones, which they didn't with the Game Gear, but they did with their Mega Drive anyway, so I could swap out the games in there and maybe trade off the loose ones. Even if I only get something crap in return, it's better than nothing at all, I guess. So of course you're going to see a pattern now. I've got FIFA Soccer 96, never going to play it, but for 80p for that, I bought that because I will be using the case. It's going to be a donor case. PGA Tour Golf 2 again, that one was £2, sorry, that was number 3, so I'll probably keep a copy of 2 and 3 because I don't think I have them, and like I say, I do like a golf game anyway. This one I didn't have, so I'm going to be keeping this. I do like the Master System. As I say, very fond memories of using the Master System cartridge adapter with my Game Gear playing games. So I didn't have this, thought it was a pretty decent price, and it's not complete, it's just a game in the box, but that will go nicely in the collection. So this one is an EA Sports double header, so unless this is worth anything because it's a double, it'll just be a donor box again. That was only £1. But unless it's worth anything, I could trade towards something better. As I say, it'll be a donor box. When I went to Coventry a few weeks back, I found Soul Reaver 2. I think I paid, oh there it is, £1.99 I paid for it, but I didn't know there was a Soul Reaver 2, and I absolutely loved the first one. My good friend Andy Godoy is a huge fan of the Soul Reaver series, and I do love the Legacy of Kain series as well, which went on from here. Oh, I didn't realise that actually I picked up 2 of these sports double headers, but again, donor cases. This one doesn't have the manual in, so probably won't be worth anything anyway. It does have the game in, and if anything I might be able to even use the cart for something, maybe a Raspberry Pi job or something. Another FIFA 96, so of course 80p donor thing, so no brainer. If anyone has any cases that they want to get rid of or anything, I'm happy to take them off your hands because I will just reuse them. Let's see, we're probably nearing on halfway through now. Light Wars I picked up for £3, which is obviously Star Fox in the UK, and I didn't know whether I had it on the N64 or not, so took a gamble and buying it again, because I've not really played it too much apart from the multiplayer bit, but I know I'm missing out playing this game, so I decided to go for it and I bought it. So we've got some more Game Boy Advance, some more Game Boy Advance and Game Gear, come in. So this one is Tweety and the Magic Gems, and that was 50p. So it's been really nice to add so many games to my Game Gear and to the Game Boy Advance recently. This is Rugrats Castle Capers, again 50p, right place at the right time. It doesn't always happen, it's not very often I get this lucky and get games this cheap. Even if they're only worth £1, it's still better paying 50p for them than £1, isn't it? So Winter Olympics, paid £1 for that, For the Game Gear, £1 all day long, no problem. Sonic the Hedgehog 2, I'm not a big fan of Sonic, but I do have a lot of nostalgia with this game, and it's much slower paced, so it's like a much slower platformer for me. I don't like the fast platforming of the original Sonic and the other versions of Sonic 2. This slows it right down, and I really like this one. It's obviously got the paraglider, the paraglider, and also there's the minecart bit as well, a bit like Donkey Kong, which is cool. That was £1. And 50p for a Columns. It's probably like my 4th or 5th copy of it now, but it is a great game. I do have it on the 4-in-1 pack as well. Someone may want to trade and have those. This one is Galahad for the Mega Drive. So I'm slowly adding more to the Mega Drive collection. Obviously, as you know by now, I'm not as much as a Sega fan as I am Nintendo, and I much prefer the Super Nintendo over the Mega Drive, but I'm enjoying picking up Mega Drive games if and when I can see them, and seeing what I haven't played and seeing what I can experience for the first time. So that was £3 for it without his box, which I think is a pretty decent price, because boxed it commands a bit of a higher price. And I left that in the store for a couple of weeks, and when I went back in it was still there, so I thought, right, I'm just going to buy it. Some more purchases from Insane Games. I got my Spectrum Plus 2 a few months ago, so been buying some Spectrum games for it as well. Don't know if that's going to focus. Don't know if it's because there's a shine on it or not. But that is Spiky Harold, and I quite like the look of that. So hopefully it works, and hopefully it'll load. We'll see. Dynamite Dan. There's loads of Dynamite Dan games now. And I think there's a few homebrews of it as well. Does it really look like it's going to focus? Oh, it did there. £1. So obviously just some really cheap filler games, some of them. So when I see them for £1, I think, yeah, why not? I'm happy to pay £1 each for them, no problem. And this is an unusual looking Monty game, which I've never heard of. It's called Monty is Innocent from Monty Mole, so we'll have a crack at that at some point. It's nice to see it starting to focus again. Right, so this next one, I did a huge trade with a nice chap from Greece through the Retro Game Swap Shop Facebook group, and I sent him a load of plug and plays that I didn't want, that I was trying to get rid of. He was happy to take them off my hands in exchange for some things that I did want, some great items. So some of them in pretty decent condition as well. So I've got this Super Bubble Pop on the Game Boy Advance. Onimusha Tactics, bit sun bleached there, but still, box game, not complaining. Planet of the Apes. So I've had these at home now for about 2.5 months now maybe, and I haven't got round to filming these pickups, like for this box that I'm going through now, this trade. Stormbreaker, that looks like a pretty cool sort of Zombies Ate My Neighbours stroke, trying to think what else. Yeah, sort of Zombies Ate My Neighbours meets Commando looking sort of game, so we'll play that at some point. I'm probably on my SP. Punch King. Spyro 2. I can't remember if I've already got or not. Toka Touring Cars. So for the stuff that I didn't want, this stuff's absolutely great. So really pleased with it. So I was happy enough to get rid of these plug and plays that I didn't want anymore. I don't play them, I never will play them, so I'm glad that he wanted them and will make some use of them. So I also got off in Mortal Kombat 4. Now, as you can imagine, I sit with a good handful of plug and play games, and like I said, he was happy with them, but I'm delighted what I got in return for them. God of War Ghost of Sparta on the PSP. I do like collecting for the PSP. Jak and Daxter, The Last Frontier. And this is in Greek, so I'm just hoping there's going to be some UK subtitle options, or you know, when you start up and you can choose between languages, I hope there's going to be a British language option. And Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars, which I had this on the DS, and it wasn't my favourite of Grand Theft Auto games, but I do want to try it again and see if I enjoy it and get into it. On the DS there was a problem with the cartridge. It was just a cheap knockoff one anyway, so I don't think that works. And lastly, out of this trade I also got another NES controller. So I think you could probably all agree that for a good handful of plug and play controllers I got a really good deal in exchange for everything I got there, and we're both more than happy with what we've got in exchange. But it's nice to go through all these because I can finally put them all away as well and stop taking up so much room over the house. Now we're getting towards that one's bag now. And this one we're going to start off with, I went to Revival a couple of weekends ago now, which was Revival Zet, mini winter warmer style event, and I got the Story of the Commodore in Pixels from Chris Wilkins. He also kindly signed it for me inside and had a nice chat with him. He did the ZX Spectrum Pixels ones as well, which are really good actually. And obviously I prefer the Commodore 64 over the Spectrum, but the Spectrum in Pixels was a fantastic read, and I do also have that, so this will really go nice together. And he's got 3 of the Spectrum in Pixels books. So if you're on Retro Tech 100 like me and a few of my other YouTuber friends and things like that are, you would have already seen these, and my friend Christian Van Tilburg very kindly sent me a bundle of Commodore 64 games because he knows how much I love the Commodore 64, and I guess he probably wanted to move them on because he's more of a Spectrum guy anyway. So I'll quickly go through these because I've already shown them, and I think I'll probably also show them 2 at a time in that case as well. So these are ones by Quicksilver. We've got Purple Turtles, and if we can read that one backwards as well, Quantic Warrior. So these ones have got Pro Skateboard Simulator and Horace, what's that one say? Horace Headbanger. And these are the sort of, you know, sleeves that really drew me to the games. These cartoon style, not animations, but these cartoon style pictures really drew me to these budget games of Commodore 64 when I was a young lad in the likes of Woolworths. These next 2, we've got Chinese Juggler there, and a 2-in-1 here, with Bionic Granny on the one side, which you can see, and the other is called Jungle Storm, which looks like Jungle Book. Next up, got a mystery tape, so it's going to be fun finding out what's on there, and a Hunchback. I'm going to start going through these next year after Christmas. We're going to get some gameplay footage and enjoy those and find out what's on that mystery tape. Some lovely clamshell plastic boxes, which it's nice to come across these, and I only had one other one which I said before was Congo Bongo, so it's really nice to have these with it as well. So this was Matrix by Jeff Minter and Kilowatt as well. And I think the bundle from Christian, I think this is the final game from that lot. The classic Attack of the Mutant Camels, the Star Wars ripoff. All good fun. So I also love collecting for the Atari 2600 as well. Got some more cartridges from there. So I've got Warlords and Star Raider. Star Raider is really confusing. I don't know what's going on with that game or how to play it. But I like having physical copies of games, even if I emulate the games more than playing them with the likes of the 2600. Now here we've got Battlezone and Keystone Capers. I once saw Andy Godoy doing Keystone Capers and that was a lot of fun. So since seeing that game I thought I've got to get it, it looks great. So I've eventually got it, and I've eventually also got Battlezone, and it's really nice having more games to the Atari collection. And these ones, we've got Asteroids and Air Sea Battle. Air Sea Battle is one of those with lots and lots of modes on. 27 modes all in all, I think it is. So next, I'm going to go for some random stuff and throw them together. SSX on Tour. SSX was an okay game on the PS2, snowboarding game, wasn't bad. Not something I'd play often, but when I saw it for £1 I thought it'll go nice with the PSP collection, so I'm going to get it. Rocksmith I got for the 360 for 50p. No cable for it though, so you know I might be able to get a cable from somewhere at some point, but that'd be nice to actually play my guitar, because you play real guitars with that, with the 360, and it'd be nice to start playing the 360 a bit more again. Next up, we've got Grand Theft Auto 3, 50p. I've already got a copy of it, so I'm going to be using it to trade. And I also got Area 51 as well, which was £1. Some of these I was going to use for a tenner trade trials, but we haven't had another one recently, so I bought these around that month. We were supposed to have one, just didn't come to fruition. Some more GameCube golf games from Insane Games. They were £1 each. I got these quite a few months ago, but just haven't shown them yet. But nice fodder for the GameCube collection, and again I enjoy them anyway, these games, so I will play them at some point. And the Incredible Hulk, which I got for £1 on the GameCube. The GameCube collection is growing more and more. Long gone are the days when I used to get classics like Star Fox Assault for 50p and Super Mario Sunshine and things like that for 50p. So that was when we had cash converters in this town, but then that's gone, so those great deals have gone with it too, unfortunately. So before we get on to the bread and butter, the stuff that I love the most, I'm just going to quickly show you these. So I got Bust-A-Move 3 for the Bust-A-Move 3 DX, sorry, which I got off Faith Johnson from her group, the Retro Game Swap Shop. I love a Bust-A-Move game and didn't have it for the N64, wanted to boost the N64 collection, so there we go, that'll go nicely with it. Also in the same group I got Pokemon Colosseum. I can't see what I've done with the game, it's about somewhere, but I've also got the Game Boy Rumble Pack that came with it, so that was really nice to get, and I got that off one of our fellow Retro Tech 100 people, so it was a nice swap with him. Let's move on to the really good stuff, in my opinion anyway. which is loads of SNES games. We're starting off with this game is no pushover. This game fluctuates in price all the time, and I really like the look of it. It's like a domino pushover game, which is why it's called pushover. You push over the dominoes or you set them up and push them over, whatever, but it looks like great fun and I've wanted it for a long time. Finally got it. One of my childhood games which I've been after forever. This game normally goes for between the £30 and £50 region. I managed to get this off eBay from a place somewhere in Europe. I can't remember where it was exactly, but super glad to have it back. It is in English as well. You know, it could have been German, PAL or anything like that, but thankfully it's in English. Absolutely delighted to have it back in the collection. Brilliant puzzle game where you're on a boat and you're trying to save the ship people, you know. These two I got off my good friend Rob Fye. I got Yoshi Safari and Mario Paint. Had neither. He was getting rid of his collection, and I asked him how much he wanted them for them both. He cut me a really lovely deal because he's a nice guy like that. So I added both of these to the collection, which is really nice. And I'm always happy to buy more SNES games. Pokemon Stadium wasn't here after all. You can see what we've got here in a minute. Right, so all of these games that I'm going to show you next, one of them I believe I've probably shown before, but I got these off Vintage Gamer. Vintage Gamer always does a fantastic deal, and that's probably my dogs going mental at some other dogs going past the house. So all these games off Vintage Gamer, they always hook you up and look after you. Nick and the guys are brilliant there, so we'll see them at the revival events and always get something from them. So this is Dragon, the Bruce Lee story. Again, it's another childhood game I got. Not a particular great game. It's a one fighter where you progress through characters that he fights from the movie. It's an okay game. Picked up Claymates, that was only £6. I picked up at this Winter Warm and just gone. I think I only paid £5 for it because Nick knocked a quid off each of these. Lemons 2 fluctuates in price quite a bit. £6 for that one I think I paid. Like I say, knocked £1 or £2 off each one, and like I said, he always looks after customers, Nick does. I really want to go and visit his shop at some point. And I also got Turn and Burn No Fly Zone. No idea what it's like, but seeing it at that price and knowing its prices are pretty decent anyway, I decided to pick it up. And all the rest of these I've picked up as and when I've ever felt like it, or if I've seen them at a reasonable price that I want to pay. So I've got Super WrestleMania, another childhood game. I've only got a couple left to get that I had from my childhood, and that's every childhood Super Nintendo game that I had back in the collection again. The main one that I'm missing is Maximum Carnage. So I'll try and get that at some point, but I can't afford it yet. We've also got Super Putty. I remember seeing this everywhere on the back of magazines or in a little pull-out leaflet in the games that I bought, and I always wanted it, never got it. Saw it for about £6 or £7 on eBay, so I picked it up. Again, the game sort of fluctuates between sort of £5 to £10 depending on who's picking it up really. I also picked up Lethal Weapon. From what I understand, it's a pretty decent game. I think I only paid £5 or £6 for that on eBay. I didn't mind picking that up. And then we're down to the last few games, so we're nearly there, we're nearly at the end. Pebble Golf, I was going to say Pebble Bobble or something like Bubble Bobble then, but Pebble Golf, another golf game. That was really cheap on eBay. I was just looking for cheap SNES games, anything but football games really, sort of thing that, you know, I might play. So it's worth having in the collection. Might not focus because it's got quite a dark label. Another game I had as a child, Looney Tunes Buster Bust Loose, great platformer. You get to swap out between the 3 characters from there on the fly, which is really cool. And lastly, we've got Super Pro Protector Alien Rebels. I believe I paid £12 for that at CEX. Originally when I saw it in there it was going for about £30. They dropped it down to 25 after a few months. They dropped it down to 22, and then I went in one day and it was knocked right down to £12. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to get it now. Because for me, you know, I don't like paying too much for my games because I don't think they're really worth that. I don't think any game really is worth over £30 regardless of what it is. So I saw that for £12, it was a no-brainer. It's an okay game, just obviously Super Contra for the SNES, not a bad game at all. So I just got to get into it a bit more, it's quite a difficult game. So as you can see, quite a lot picked up over the last few months. Should have shown this all in different videos as and when I picked it up really, but it just hasn't happened like that, it hasn't turned out. So just to quickly show you why I've got this set up, you can see the flight stick style controller does work. So I've never actually seen it in action before, so I sort of bought it in the hope that I can make it work myself. Managed to get it running and it works, both buttons work as I said earlier, and I'm hoping to swap this top one out for a smart bomb in the future at some point. Obviously with the mini arcade, just waiting for another USB hub because that one's a bit knackered. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video, hope you've enjoyed what I picked up. That is closing out what I picked up for the rest of this year. I don't think there's going to be another video for this year, we'll see, perhaps. If I get a chance to, maybe, but if not, I'm going to try and get back on it in the new year, try and start doing more, better content, make it more regular. And also, before I go, I am nearing on the 200 subscriber mark, and it will make me very, very happy indeed if I could reach that 200 or more before this year is out. So if you do enjoy this video or the other videos I've done, please remember to like them, subscribe to me if you haven't already. You can help me get over that 200 threshold. It's been nearly a year since I hit my 100 subscribers to start with, and that was really, really tough going for the first 100. The next 100 has been equally as tough for me, but that could be down possibly to my videos not being frequent enough perhaps, I don't know. So, but anyway, if the mood takes you, give us a subscribe, I'll be really pleased, and I'll catch you in the next video soon. Take care.